supposed to feel.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9, wNS9 Plus. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With us, we have Jim, we have Tyler, and we have special guest. No introduction needed, of course. Steven Brault. What's up?
Chilling, man. Absolutely chilling. Off-season living, you know? It's good stuff.
Good stuff. By the way, play ball.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, you know, that was so that was the second time I did it. The first time I did it, I started too low and I was really underwhelmed with my performance. So the second time that I did it, I was like, I got to start a little higher. I got to make this a little more exciting, you know? Make it, is he going to crack? You know, is he going to mess up? That's where I want to live, right on that edge right there.
Yeah, strong performance. Strong performance. I wasn't. DiNardo, you sent that video earlier today in our group chat, and I didn't watch it, so that caught me off guard.
If you want to know half
Rude.
the problems that exist with NS9, that's it right there. There's no communication. I mean, there is a communication, just not received.
Not reciprocated, yeah.
Yeah, right.
But however, I did have a follow-up question on that particular topic. Who did it better, yourself or Andrew McCutcheon's mom? And I'm sorry, I cannot.
I mean,
can't
it's
remember her name, but why did she do it better?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna say no matter what, anytime if you ask me who's saying something better, the most ridiculous answer would be for me to say that I did it better. As a normal human being, I'll say she did better. I don't remember it. I don't
think you were saying it. Yeah, I don't think you were there when she sang it.
Yeah, that was early on in Kutch's career. I want to say that was like 2009.
Really?
2010. Didn't she do it again,
No,
though?
it was like 2013 and 15 in that ballpark area, but
Yeah.
But didn't she do it again? Like when
She
he
probably
returned?
did it
I
more than
think
once.
she did
Yeah,
God
I'm sure.
Bless America,
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
which I'm sure she killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God Bless America is one of those ones that's kind of hard too, because it's a lot of up and down, you know, and so you kind of find yourself in some weird places if you don't start right. I sang God Bless America a few times in the minor leagues. Actually, people don't know that I did this in the minor leagues multiple times before I did it in the major leagues. So I had a little bit of practice.
There you go. Just add another deck on the ballpark. That's all it
There
is.
you go.
Well, you definitely did it quite well.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah. So welcome to your NS. I guess it's not really debut. Technically, you opened packs of cards with us last year, the winter meetings.
I did.
But first time like on a real show.
Dude, did you guys see the news about the Babe Ruth cards that just got found that are about to be sold in auction? Yeah, there's this guy who had like a garage sale, and you know, there's a guy who goes around and tries to find old baseball cards at garage sales. So he went to this guy's house. They kind of started talking back and forth, and he's like, "Hey, I actually have some other stuff, you know, that I didn't put out here that my dad, you know, if you're thinking about maybe getting it appraised or whatever." And he had 2 Babe Ruth rookie cards that are like unheard of rare. And they're thinking these cards are going to go for like, you know, maybe not set records, because that Mickey Mantle card went for like $21.5 million or whatever. But yeah, dude. So it's this big auction coming up. Look it up, dude. It's a cool story. It's just a classic finding, you know, this is why you go to yard sales kind of thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. It
Let me
could
guess,
sell
Golden
for
auctions.
So they're estimating $3 million
Yeah.
on this thing.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
imagine
just
just
like-
finding that at a garage sale.
Right. And it's just like in a, you know, like an old cigarette pack or something, you know, is where he got it. And he's just been holding on to it forever. It's how you do it.
That's wild. You know what? So it's 1933 Gaudi is
Gaudi.
the brand. I have a 1933 Pie Trainer card.
Wow. Look at you go.
That's not $3 million.
No, I would assume if it was, you probably have a much better setup of your
Yeah,
microphone and
right.
such. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what would be happening right now.
Right. Exactly.
No, that's pretty. It's pretty neat. Yeah. How about the speaking of cards too, the Pirates offer for the Paul Skenes 1/1 debut patch auto.
One of the wilder things I've ever seen on the internet. I also like that as soon as the Pirates put that out there, there's the auction house guys are like, guys, don't take that deal. We'll sell it for you. It'll make way more money. You can put your kids through college, like all that stuff. Or just immediately like, don't do that. Don't give it to them, which is funny to think about. It's also funny to think about that the Pirates would want it. Like, what are they going to do with it? I guess you'd put it in a museum somewhere, but like I feel like you don't see baseball cards in museums, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean I could see them having it like on display in the ballpark somewhere, like just for fans to see. Because there's other ballparks they have like the bobblehead museums and stuff. So yeah,
I would also say like hold on to it. If you get that card, don't tell anybody and just put it away safely where it's never going to get damaged at all, and just hold on to it. And then 50 years from now, then we're going to be using laser money or whatever in 50 years, but you'll be able to get a lot of laser bucks out of it. So it'll be awesome.
Right. Would you do the trade if you pulled the card? Would you do the trade?
No, I would not. I would hold on to it. I think I also think, like, for example, the Shohei 50-50 ball, I wouldn't have sold that immediately either. I would have held on to that.
I think, you know what? I gotta jump in here. I'm sorry, Steve. Made a lot more money than we did. I'll take the money right off the bat.
See, but you're missing out. Even if you wait like 5 years, like it's not even like you have to wait that long. You're just sitting
5 more years. I have to work.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't want to do that.
I could have a better setup.
Yeah,
your setup's
how
pretty
much
nice.
Better this mic could be. Like, you wouldn't have to see that door right now, or this lame ass Hobby Lobby baseball thing behind me that my mom bought me for my birthday 3 years ago.
You don't like my completely blank brown wall behind me?
That's actually my favorite.
This is my my office that I finally put together because now I actually need an office. I do all my research and stuff. So I haven't put anything on the wall yet because I just painted this wall. I'm just kind of breathing in paint fumes. It's really nice. I'm really enjoying it.
But how much money you could probably make off that like little, I don't know, the club seats that you could just sell one of them. I'm a single dude. I could sell one of those every night, like 81, sell them for $100. I'm good.
That's a good point. Actually, you could, if you're selling that seat, or any of the nights you don't go, you sell both seats. Yeah. All right. That's a good point. Actually, I like that. I like that perspective.
You could do that. And I don't remember the rest of it, but you could probably make out pretty well.
Yeah. We do have a frozen man. Look at him.
Yeah.
Hey, at least he's smiling though. That's nice.
I'm frozen here.
We were concerned about me, and it's a gym problem.
Yeah, right.
It's like Kentucky.
We're back. We're back. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna have to say though, it is a pretty competitive offer. I mean, of course it's one that the Pirates don't have to actually like give money to, right? They can just give things that, right? But think about it, like what you're getting in return, like 30 years of tickets, a meet and greet with Paul Skenes, 2 jerseys. The softball game's kind of interesting as well, like to play with all your friends at PNC Park. And then
that is pretty cool.
For some of the single fellas or like the little kids, go in a suite with Livy Dunn. Tyler.
Good luck.
I'll go sit with Livy.
Yeah, I think I would negotiate. Like I could see, hey, you know what? I want this card to be displayed at PNC Park. I want fans to see it, but I would negotiate a little bit.
Some cash considerations.
Yeah, give me something else.
Yeah, like, can I just get the value of those seats?
Oof. Oh, for 30 years? I wonder what the value of those seats would be for 30 years.
Pay me every year, whatever that value is. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, there you go.
I've heard a range from anywhere from like 600,000 to like 1.2 million, I think, or something like that with those tickets for 30 years.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, those are like the nice. So
again, with the value of the
free dinners and stuff. Yeah,
that's it. That's the other thing. Like, I get to eat for free for like 30 years.
That's actually a free dinner every night for the summer.
Yeah. 81 nights a year, you get free food. Yeah.
I actually, when Nesson hooked us up with my wife and I with tickets back there for one of the games last year, and dude, it's a sick place. I've only sat behind home plate. This is now twice in my life. Once was a Padres game because my dad has been a season ticket holder forever, and they have tickets out in the outfield, and they did this season ticket event where you go hit off a machine on the field. And if you got the ball to get all the way to the wall, you got one pitch. And if you got the ball to get all the way to the wall, then you got these tickets behind home plate for a game. And my dad went up there. He still plays baseball at 63 years old. And he went up there, dude, hit one all the way to the wall. So we got to go sit behind home plate. It was sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, before we get any further, just let you all know, BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA, head to BetOnline today to get on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's a pretty competitive offer. And I asked, Jim, because Jim's like the card person here as well. But I was like, that's my intrigue on this also. Like, what are the Pirates going to do with this card? I mean, I can see it displayed. Maybe something like a road show also. I know they don't do like the caravan so much anymore, but they have like the winter stuff. Maybe they bring it along and you can see it. I don't know. I guess it's kind of cool. And then maybe in 50 years they sell it. I don't know. Maybe that's how they're going to get. Maybe that's how they get the Paul Skenes extension done.
That's what I'm thinking. Like part of the extension deal is, hey, we'll give you the extension, and on top of that, you get your 1-of-1 card. We'll give it to you.
We'll give it back to you. Yeah. It's weird to think so. So as a middling, really kind of toot my own horn there. As a major leaguer, I did one card signing thing in my life, and it was at the baseball card castle in Cranberry. And there were I was there for an hour, like 40, 50 maybe people showed up. I thought I was the coolest person on the planet. And then we would do like the team card signings at the game. And I'd be like, man, imagine having to be Paul Skenes. And it's just like, you have to sign for the entire time. The rest of us sign for a little bit and then you're chilling. But if you're Andrew McCutchen, Paul Skenes, like you just sign for the full hour every single time, and then you're still turning people away at the end. There's different echelons of this, and you learn very quickly which echelon you're in at those kinds of events, and it's always really fun. I always enjoyed that though.
That's good. You mentioned the Padres stuff. That segues me into something I wanted to talk about tonight, which is salty Padres fans. So, we kind of went back and forth on social media with them like all season long. They were pretty cocky. They were saying Jackson Merrill is going to win Rookie of the Year. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Paul Skenes wins 23, gets 23 out of the 31st place votes. Curious coming because you grew up, I'm assuming, a Padres fan.
Oh yeah, huge. I'm still a Padres fan.
Well, yeah.
I am not abashed to say I believe you're allowed to be a fan for multiple teams. And you're a Padres fan. I've always loved the Padres. I still do. I still watch a lot of the games, and a lot of my friends are huge Padres fans still, obviously. And so throughout the season, there's a lot of like, oh, yeah, Merrill's going to win Rookie of the Year. And I kept just saying, like, guys, no, he's not. Like, he's great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I went and looked at the stats again just to check to make sure I wasn't completely off base here. But, Merrill hit 292 and 826 OPS. He hit 24 homers. That's awesome. And he hit some really cool clutch home runs. He kind of already is known for being a clutch player. That's great. Paul Skenes did things that nobody's ever seen before, it's just, you're talking about two different kind of animals there. And I don't even necessarily think that, I'm not saying that there's not a chance that maybe Jackson Merrill ends up being a longer term, better player. You never know. Like it's this, as the future goes on, especially as a pitcher, things can happen that, can really change the trajectory of your career. But dude, for this season, there's no debate. I really don't think you could. Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone. I really don't think you could possibly, even compare the two. So you just write down all the awards that Skenes won this year: All-Star starting pitcher, all MLB first team, rookie of the year, Cy Young Award finalist, and then like every other, smaller like Baseball America award and like, Writers Association awards that aren't like the main things. Skenes won them all, and it's different. 11-3, ERA under 2. Like the guy had 2 starts where he went at least 6 innings, had at least 11 strikeouts, and gave up no hits. He did that twice, dude. That's ridiculous. That's like Tyler Glasnow in AAA kind of performance. You know what I mean? It's just not something that you see. And so I would never say that Merrill's not a great player and that I'm not really excited. I am really excited to watch his career because I didn't think he was going to hit many home runs this year. He's just not a very big guy. And then he goes out, he hits 24, and it's like, oh, so we're talking about something different here than I thought. But still, I'm sorry, you got put in the same year as Paul Skenes, and that's just a bummer. It's just too bad.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring up Glasnow in AAA. It's like one thing we're talking about with Skenes in AAA. It's like he's just easily head over shoulders against everyone else. I mean, he's in a whole different class. Like there's no challenge here. And like the ironic thing was he finally made the majors and it still looked the same. Like it looked like he was in AAA still. And this is all the major leagues and he's a rookie. So again, talking about this, like Jackson Merrill had a great season, but he's not Paul Skenes, unfortunately for him. Paul Skenes, like he just made the major leagues look easy.
Dude. So here's my Paul Skenes spiel for everybody who hasn't heard this yet. Okay. So we have a term for position players who are good at everything. We have 5-tool player, right? So we have Mike Trout, Ken Griffey Jr., whoever you want to throw in that category, 5-tool players. There's not really a category like that for pitchers. You can say ace, but that's just kind of like, general thing. For me, there's 3 categories that make you a good pitcher. Okay. So there's command, there's velocity, and there's stuff. And most people in the major leagues are going to be really good at one of those. And then the other 2, maybe not quite as good. Then you get some guys who have 2 of them and they're like really good. And then you have the few guys that have 3. So like now you're talking about like Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander in his prime, where they have the command, they have nasty stuff, and they throw harder than everybody else. So it's not common to have all 3. Paul Skenes not only has all 3, but he's right at the top of baseball in all 3 separately. So that's why it's so different for him. And I think that Yankees start, just the 2 innings, the last game of the season, perfectly encapsulated that. He's showing 101 mile-an-hour fastballs that are running a foot to a front door to lefties and painting the corner. Like that is not something that I would ever have been able to dream about doing. I couldn't even throw that pitch at 91. You know what I mean? Like it's different what he does, what he is doing. He had a game where he threw 9 changeups, 8 of them were swing and miss, and 7 of them were for strikeouts. That like what? That doesn't even make any sense, dude. Like,
and it's like his 5th best pitch.
Yeah, it ended up being he threw it 5% of the time, and it's better than most people's any pitch that they have. So like, it's just you're playing on different playing fields here. There's just no really other way to say it. Everybody's going to say, okay, well, next year teams will have better scouting reports. They'll be able to figure them out. No, they won't. They won't. He is that good. Like, it doesn't matter if you know that's coming. You're still not going to be able to hit it because you still think it's going to hit you in the knee, and then it's going to be right on the corner, and it's not like you have time to react to it anyway. So I don't know. I'm Paul Skenes stan number 1. I have been since I watched him in spring training. I'm blown away by that guy as a pitcher. It's truly amazing.
So basically, you're giving the interview that he gave with Hannah where he said, good luck.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my God. This is my favorite interview ever because that's the other thing he has that other people don't have. He knows
the attitude.
He is the best.
Part.
Yeah, exactly. He knows he's the best. And you need to have that if you're going to be an ace. Justin Verlander never thinks that he ever should give up any runs. Like there's plenty of information about him that says, whenever he gives up runs, it's always like I must be tipping, or like they must have guessed right. It's not it wasn't my fault. I would never give up that home run if they didn't have something, right? And so that's what Skenes has too. He gave up runs to the Cubs, and you had an interviewer ask him the same question that everybody gets asked, and everybody answers the same way. Oh, it's going to be tough, but at the same time, I think the pitcher still has the advantage because I'm going to know what they did too as well, blah, blah, blah. And he just goes, good luck. Like literally, like it's just amazing. And that's part of it too. You're right. That would be number 4, is that mental edge of I am always better than whoever's in that box all the time, no matter what. And he's got that too. So there you go.
And it's different when you can back it up. That Cubs start, I don't think he didn't give up a hit.
No, he struck out 11 in 6 innings and didn't give up a hit.
Right.
Yeah. Like he
struck
said
out
that,
the first 7 batters he
immediately
faced.
backed it up.
Yeah, it was silly. Is what it was.
Which again, like that's his debut, and that's what he's doing. He made the Cubs look like the Indianapolis Indians.
Dude, it's wild to watch. It really, really is. And it was funny because there was a stretch in the middle of the season there where he had like 4 starts where he had like a 4.6 ERA, and there's articles being, Paul Skenes, is he falling off? His velocity is down a mile an hour. And I'm like, guys, his velocity is at 98.6 average instead of 99.4. Like, let's calm down. And he has a 4 or 5 ERA over 4 starts. Like, who cares? He never blew up, not a single time, not once. That's rare. Everybody does that. I watched Kershaw give up 9 runs in the first inning when he was in his prime, and that guy still had an ERA under 2 for the season. It's silly. It's different.
Yeah. Steven, what he did after that? 4 earned runs and 6 starts?
Yeah, something like that. 0.8 ERA in the month of September. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
You mentioned, you've been a huge Paul Skenes defender, his number 1 fan since spring training. We had Jordan Comedina on the show on Monday, and we asked him, like, what was the point where you were like, this guy's there's something special about this guy, like not just he's really good, but like there's something special about him. Was there a point that you were like, this guy's really special?
Yeah, for me it was after probably, I don't know, it was probably a second or third start in the pregame postgame show. McHenry and I broke down his mechanics. So we spent like a full 3 hours. We got in there early to make sure that we were going to break down this video correctly and where we were going to put all the stops and everything. And so I'm going through, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm looking for something wrong. Like I was looking for a problem, something that he didn't repeat very well. I'm watching pitch after pitch. I'm slow-moing it. I'm, overlaying them on top of each other, like everything I can do to find something wrong. And I couldn't. And so I end up doing this pregame breakdown of his delivery. And all I can say is like, hey, this is the perfect delivery. So if anybody wants to teach your kid what to do to get the most power out of what they have, this is it. And everything is right. And for me, that was when I realized like, oh, so this won't go away because it is so perfectly repeatable, right? If there is anybody who can throw 100 miles an hour as a starter and stay healthy, in my opinion, Paul Skenes is the guy. He has that natural ability, size, but also he works really hard. He has perfectly repeatable delivery, and everything he does is very compact. He makes sure that everything is supported well throughout the delivery. So if anybody can do it, it's him. You watch DeGrom and it's all big rubber band and, huge movements and stuff. Like that stuff's going to break down. Skenes doesn't do that. He stays in a ball the entire time through his delivery and then just uncoils all perfectly. They call it the separation, the hips, the shoulders, then the arm comes, and it's immaculate every time. It's just impressive, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think I've ever seen 102 get delivered so easily.
Right.
And like you go back to like maybe, and I don't want to throw shade at a guy, but maybe go back to like a Vic Black or a Duke Welker back in the day. They had to really earn that 102 or 100. Like even a Garrett Cole, for example.
Yeah.
He had to really exert himself to get to 100. Paul Skenes, when he throws 102, it looks like the same thing he's throwing a splinker.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
does.
easy, man. I don't get it. I don't get how a human can do that.
Right. And if you watch his warm-up pitches in between innings, if you go to a game, the last pitch he doesn't throw very hard, but the first, like the last 2 to 3, if you watch, he gets on a little bit, just a little bit, but it's still just a warm-up pitch. And sometimes they have the radar gun up early, and he'll pop a 96 like he's not even trying. It's insane, dude. It's insane. I took everything out of my body to get low 90s, and this guy's throwing 96 like a slow pitch softball player, dude. It's crazy.
And granted, Jim just mentioned it. Like, we did talk to Jordan Comodina on Monday. Shout out to him.
New catching coach.
New catching coach.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. But he was just talking about the discipline he has going into every game and the regimen that he has. But still, man, you're not just, I guess maybe you are just born throwing 102 like that. Like,
you're not gonna coach somebody to 102.
No.
Right. That's just the truth. Like, no offense, Jim, but you could go train for the next 30 years. You're not going to throw 102. I'm not going to either, especially now that my arm is barely hanging on to my body. But like, there is a natural talent there that you can't coach, which I always said that with baseball, the sweet spot, the guys who are great are the ones who have that talent, but also work as hard as the guys who are what we call grinders that get to the major leagues because they work so hard. And they just kind of get put over the edge. They still have a lot of innate talent. But a guy like Paul Skenes has like all of the talent, but also is a robot when it comes to his work ethic and how he gets everything done, his nutrition, not only his day of work, but his day before, the day before that, the day after he throws. It's all regimented out. Which is also the other reason why he's a starter. 100%. There's no question that regiment is so built in that he needs that time. If he were a reliever, things would change, but he'll be the guy that will be healthy enough in a playoff race. Hopefully, if you get into the playoffs, you get into the World Series, for example, Skenes could pitch games 1 and 4 and finish game 7. He could do that if that's what you wanted to do. It's just, that's what he's built for.
And he also has the mentality to do that.
Right.
Because we saw it in the College World Series where he was ready to go.
Yeah.
What, game 3?
Yeah, game 3.
He's waiting.
Yeah. And he might literally just push Oscar out of the way if he says, like, you're not going out today. He would probably just be like, hey, Oscar, I'm going to go. And then just kind of push him. And then they'd all be like, okay, yeah, sounds good.
Now that he has a beard, he definitely will.
I know, right? The beard works for him. I like the beard.
I think it works pretty good. Well, I may not be able to throw 102, but if you want to, maybe up your velocity. Today's episode is sponsored by Chris Gates Fitness and his online fitness training camp. Chris is a huge Pittsburgh sports fan, longtime supporter of the show, and his training camp membership program is perfect for you if you have health and fitness goals like throwing 102. And what's cool is that from Monday, November 25th through Monday, December 2nd, Chris is running a massive Black Friday sale where you can get 80% off your first month. Let me tell you a bit about the program. When you join training camp, you'll get access to brand new workout programs every month, so you can take all the guesswork out of your exercise plan. You'll also get access to weekly coaching calls with Chris in the private training community group, where you can get all your questions answered and receive guided support every step of the way. You also get access to exclusive courses about health and fitness, so you can build your knowledge base and know exactly what to do and when to do it to make progress. And most importantly, you'll join a community full of people there to support you every step of the way, so you'll never feel alone in your journey. Not to mention, Chris hosts challenges in the group every month to help push you to make progress and develop healthy habits. For instance, training camp members have been doing weekly football pick'ems all season, in addition to challenges centered around training and nutrition. So far, winners have received hundreds of dollars in free supplements, free treadmills, home gym equipment, $150 Amazon gift cards. And in December, they'll be hosting bracket polls for college football playoff and NFL playoffs with huge prizes going to the winners. You can use code NS9 between November 25th and December 2nd to sign up for just $10. That's 80% off the monthly price. Head to chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp to learn more and sign up today. It's a great time to get a head start on your fitness goals for 2025 and let Chris and the training camp community help you navigate the holiday season successfully.
That was a good
Chris
read.
Help
man.
us get to 102.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done.
But I want to ask you something too. Talk about, his pregame stuff and how in tune he is and whatnot. How nervous does it make you that he catches his own football?
Well, I think that if any damage is done, it will be to the football. I think his fingers probably would damage the football before they damage his fingers. I'll tell you what, though, it is a little iffy. I think that may be something that they take away from him at some point. I wouldn't be totally surprised. That might be one of those like strong suggestions, like, hey, Paul, why don't you just have somebody else catch the football and then throw it back? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that change.
Like, I know he's athletic, and at the Steelers game, he said he would be a tight end, if not a quarterback. But quarterbacks have guys catch their balls for them, and then they throw it. Like, maybe suggest that, Paul. Maybe.
No,
I would say so.
Nope. Let him catch them. We need the finger dexterity there.
Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Finger
we'll go
strength.
with that.
Yeah.
And also just let the dude live.
He's
gotten this far doing what he does. Let's just do what he does. I'm not going to mess with anything he does.
Yeah. I like that.
Let him live.
Yeah. So getting a couple comments here on the chat. We've been praising Skenes for 30 minutes here, but the Pirates didn't do what they were supposed to do this year, right? It was definitely not a season that lived up to expectations. So what are you looking for the Pirates to do this offseason to surround? I mean, they've got the talent, but Tyler says it all the time. He says the hard part's figured out. Like, they've got the rotation. That's the hard part. So, like, what do you do this offseason to make sure that you're surrounding this talented rotation, these arms, with some bats and maybe some defense that can get them to where they need to be, which is ultimately into the playoffs?
Well, first, the easy solution here is to get a power hitting first baseman. I say easy as in anybody can go just get a power hitting first baseman. Obviously, it's not that simple, but that would be a huge addition to what this team could be. Think about if you can get especially a left-hander with a lot of pop to just go out and, hey, pull the ball, see how many you can hit over the Clemente wall, kind of thing. That would be really nice. I think the other thing for me that I would like to see, and that is without having to add more players, when you say improve the defense, I think it's just improving the defense. If that means doing more defensive work, I think that's doable. Those guys are good athletes. So the defense can be better. I think maybe a little bit more commitment to the defense being great, I think would be helpful. On the offensive side, there's not many guys coming up. I got to see Termarr Johnson and Sammy Siani a lot in the fall league. And they're both looking good, but neither of them are very close. So you still got a little time there. So I think, like you said, the starting pitching is going to have to be the strength. But I think we're kind of lacking on, or we're kind of not giving enough credit to what the bullpen can be. The bullpen this year was bad. There's just no other way to put it. When you look at the numbers overall through the season, I think they were 26th in bullpen ERA. It's just not good. But Bednar had a horribly down year. I don't think he's going to do that again. I really don't. And then if you get Holderman that you had for most of the year, instead of that 6-game stretch in the middle of the season where he lost 5 games in a row, you're going to be happy with that. Majinski has looked really good. I think my wild card for next year is Kyle Nicholas, because he started showing, especially at the end of the year, that command getting better. I want to see him throwing curveballs a lot more than sliders. I think it works a lot better off of his fastball to use a curveball and then use a slider as kind of maybe more to lefties just to kind of bust it in on their hands. But righties, I think he should be throwing fastballs and curveballs and just punching tickets. And I think that is something that you'll see happen this season as well. So I think that the pitching in general should be really good this year. And not to mention that I don't know how it happened. I don't know the backstory. I don't have some inroad to know things that other people don't, just in case anybody thinks I do. I just do all the research on my own. The fact that they got Brent Strom from the Diamondbacks is an absolute steal, dude. This guy is a great pitching coach. He was 8 years in Houston, 3 years in Arizona, and then they got rid of him this year because they had a bad pitching staff. But like 2023, their pitching staff way overshot how good it should have been, especially in the playoffs. And they got all the way to the World Series on their pitching was really much better than it should have been. Their offense was great, so that's obviously very helpful. But when you get now, they have a bad season this last year. They had a bunch of injuries, and they just let him go. And somehow the Pirates convince him to be their assistant pitching coach. Dude, it blows my mind. I think, in my opinion, I think that there's something a little more going on. Like maybe because Oscar is a good pitching coach, but he's all new wave, right? I mean, so he does the analytics and stuff. He's very good with that. But I think you were missing what I call the old head, right? The Ray Searage kind of guy, somebody who just more talks about the mentality of pitching. And so I think those two guys together are a really good combination that with this young pitching staff, those two guys together, I think could turn the pitching staff into what they should be, which is they should be really good. And so I think that that's really exciting for me. When I saw they hired him, I was like, I'm sorry, I must be reading something wrong here. No, dude, it's straight up. Like, I think assistant pitching coach might be a little bit less than what he actually is. I think he's like assistant head pitching coach, if that makes sense, right? You have two guys.
Coach.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You have two guys who are both very different, approach pitching very different, but can come together and give you this full, really great pitching mind that no one person could have. And I think that's really exciting for the pitching staff.
Yeah. So, I said, like, I think they're going to complement each other very, very well.
Yeah.
But I guess like something we're interested in as well. San Diego guy. You have any ties to him as well?
No, I don't. I got no ties to anybody, man. I have my connections end at Trevor Williams in San Diego and Musgrove, I guess. But I actually just went to Trevor's 10-year anniversary party. The dude's been married for 10 years. We're the same age. It's crazy. But it's, it is funny you say that though, because there's a lot of San Diego guys, a lot of San Diego players and coaches and stuff that come out of there, of course. But I was like very, very small fish when I was in San Diego in high school, which is why I went to a Division II college in Denver, instead of like USC or whatever. So I didn't have the same kind of connections out there. But I mean, hey, I wish maybe this year. You never know.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to go back to, you said power hitting first baseman. What do you think about the Brian Reynolds to first base stuff?
I'm a huge fan. I think that I don't want to say I got in trouble, but I was I talked about that on the show last year because I think it's a great fit. I really, really do. The problem is that if Brian wants to play left field, he's signed there long term to play left field, and so I think you put him out there. He still led the NL in assists out in the outfield this year, so there's some value in some way for him to play outfield. But I mean, I love the idea of Brian Reynolds at first base. I think it's where he's going to end up anyway, and the same way that they kind of jumped the gun on throwing O'Neal Cruz in center field, which was going to happen. I think for me, I jumped the gun and just send Reynolds to first base now. And then you can kind of finding a left fielder is a lot easier than finding a first baseman. And so I think if he gets a full off season of first base work, I think he would probably be a really good first baseman, to be honest with you, like pretty much immediately. So I love that idea myself. I have the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. You just want to join North Shore 9 here?
yeah. This is what we'll do.
Doing the same exact thing for
I feel like we've been saying it for a while too. Yeah,
but I think it's the obvious move, and I think the other thing it does for him is it saves the legs, man.
Right? Yeah.
Like he's a hitter. That's what he is. You need that bat in your lineup. You put him at first base, save the legs a little bit, give him a little time at DH. Like you said, it's a lot easier to find a left fielder, I think, or at least in the Pirates' experience. It's a lot easier to find a left fielder than it is a first baseman. And if he's at first base and DH, he plays 162.
He'll play every day. He already wants to anyway, but will.
You avoid the platoon splits too at first base.
Right. Exactly. You don't have a power bat that you have to take out against lefties because they can't do anything. That it makes a big difference. So yeah, I love that move.
Pick it, let's roll with it.
Right.
And like the defensive metrics, just you mentioned assists, but just like the rest of it's not there. He just kind of has fallen off of a cliff the last few years. You look at him and everything seems he's fine out there, but yeah, he's been just punished, just pummeled. He'd probably have a 4 WAR year last year if he wasn't.
Yeah, gets dragged down by the minus defensive runs saved in a big way. Yeah, it makes it tough. And it's all. The funny thing is, he's not slow. So that defensive metrics for me, they still confuse me a little bit. I'm always trying to kind of figure out, like, most plays you watch, and it's not like throughout the season. I can remember one play that Reynolds didn't make that he should have made, and it was because they had him playing on the warning track, and the ball was hit kind of shallow. You know what I mean? Like, but other than that, like, I can't really remember any plays that I was like, oh man, a decent left fielder gets that. But like, you know what I mean? So I still don't quite understand how like ultimate zone rating works and stuff like that. I do all the research I can, and then I walk away and I read my own notes, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense still. So I'm still trying to figure out how all that stuff works. But yeah, I mean, I think if you put him at first, you're right. He all of a sudden would get a lot more valuable. Yeah, like, it happened with Tatis. It's going to happen with Cruz as well. It's going to be the same thing. We're going to see O'Neill Cruz do some crazy things next year in center field. We're going to see him make some big mistakes too. But you know what? Those big mistakes don't matter as much in center field as they do at short.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was going to say is like, what I think is funny is, like you say, like not understanding the metrics.
Yeah.
He is still like super athletic. Like I'm with you too. Like it's not as if like, oh, he's just slowing down and he's now, the slow guy that can't run, can't move. Like he's still very mobile, which is why I think the transition to first is also because he's going to be super athletic first baseman.
Right.
Like I think, like you're saying, like I think he is the type that can be successful in transitioning, and not just transitioning, but also being a very good defensive first baseman. Because yeah, like it looks like it's just like he has a terrible jump. Like he's still fast. The ball gets hit and he just stands there. I'm overblowing this a bit, you know what I mean? But like he just stands there and then makes the jump. Like it's just such a slow first step for him, which is weird because again, like he gets to first base quickly,
right.
but yeah, like that's just his downfall. Like he just doesn't get the balls that he should. Like I feel like it's not like Kutch where like he's positioned in center the way he was, and that's why he wasn't like as good as a defender. Like he just doesn't get the balls that well. But at the same point, I want people to think and understand, like, but he's still super athletic.
Yeah.
So like he can absolutely be like a very good first baseman in my mind.
And also, I think go to Harper, right? I mean, Harper did it.
Yeah.
Harper's a perfect example. He didn't even have an arm, and he still went over there and did it. And he won a Gold Glove. It is possible to make that transition. You just got to commit to it. I don't think, Moneyball does a great job. Ron Washington's quote from Moneyball. Yeah, moving to first base isn't that hard. It's terribly hard. It's terribly difficult. It is in being a good first baseman. It is difficult to be a good first baseman. There's a lot of footwork, a lot of small things around the bag that change you into a first baseman, into a good first baseman. But I know Brian. I played with Brian. He's very, very athletic. I think he's going to be able to do that really well. And like I said, I do think it's the eventual move. And just like we saw with Cruz, where they were just like, oh yeah, hey, O'Neill Cruz is going to play center field next week. And everybody was like, I'm sorry, what? I think that could be a similar thing. You know what I mean? Like it was, but then of course we saw O'Neill Cruz, make some cool diving plays because he's 12 feet tall and he threw a ball 103.5 miles an hour from the outfield, like this right here. Cause he doesn't know how to extend his arm yet, like that's changes that you'll see for an off season of work in the outfield for O'Neill Cruz. Reynolds could make the same, if not better changes at first in an off season, but obviously they haven't said anything yet. So I don't think that's going to happen immediately, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this year at some point. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you know how quick they are on saying things.
True. Yeah. Things just happen immediately.
Yeah, Kutch did just get moved to right field like overnight.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was basically overnight. But the other
it was
part,
Marte they moved to center, right?
Yeah, and Polanco to left. But the other part to mention, left field's incredibly hard in PNC Park for 81 games.
Huge.
You're playing center field basically again. So even if first base isn't the move, I do think there is a thought to maybe moving to right field. If you're going to keep in the outfield, go find a left fielder that can patrol that and then reel it in a hair.
Yeah, I think it's kind of lost sometimes. Like we always think the same way. Right fielders have the best arm, and left fielders are the terrible defenders. Okay. Well, if you have a really good, fast, if you put Michael A. Taylor in left field in PNC Park, he's going to be great out there. And it would increase the value of your team so much because other teams are going to come in and put their bad defender in left field, and then you get to take advantage of that. So I think because sometimes you got to play to the field, man. Like that's just the truth of it. Pittsburgh has a very unique left field, especially now that Camden Yards is moving the wall in again.
Yeah.
There's a
tried it for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. There's a statistical advantage that you could take advantage of, I think, if you decided to do that.
That's what made Marte so great. I mean, him in left field, that was a weapon, especially because he had the arm too.
Oh yeah, dude, absolute cannon. That guy playing catch was so funny. He would just like kind of barely toss it, and it would just go. Like, oh, that's different. Good for you, man.
I wish.
Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I was just saying, I wish I could throw that hard.
Yeah, me too.
But you can take Kyle Hendricks deep, so it's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely could.
That's what everybody says.
We got the left-handers on one side here. Me and Steven, lefties.
Let's go.
Me and Steven Brault here. He hit a no-doubter home run in major leagues. I probably could as well. If you
absolutely.
Kyle Hendricks.
Very true.
Yeah, Tyler thinks he could take Kyle Hendricks deep.
Oh yeah, not a doubt.
My favorite thing about Kyle Hendricks, and this is the last thing before we move on to whatever we're going to talk about next. Every time he would throw against us, right? It would be like the third inning, and everybody's like, "Man, just missed it, man! Right on that one, just missed it." And then all of a sudden, the seventh inning ends, and we haven't scored any runs, and it's like, "Damn, he did it again!"
Yeah, he did it again. Steven,
let him get away with this,
man. I got it.
That's what the Rockies were saying when you threw him 69 straight fastballs.
Yeah, dude. I actually talked to Bud Black about that after that. I don't know if I told you that. I saw him in an airport. Yeah, ironically enough, I went up and introduced myself, and he's like, "I know who you are. You threw 69 freaking fastballs against us in a row to start a game last year. I remember who you are." And I was like, "Oh yeah, thanks, man. That's fun." He's like, I was walking around to the dugout after the third inning. He's throwing effing fastballs. Let's hit the fastball. But hey, it worked. Sometimes you just go with what's working. You just
Steven, I have to ask because I think I've seen you answer this question on a Reddit page.
Right.
And I think you answered that you didn't realize it was 69 straight fastballs.
I did not. I didn't know.
You're out of baseball. You could tell the truth now.
So I will say this. I didn't know it was 69 straight fastballs, but I did really want to get through all 6 innings without throwing a slider. But it was Ian Desmond was the last guy I faced. And I threw a fastball that was like 3 feet over his head and like 1.5 feet outside, and he fouled it off. And I was like, okay, he's literally just swinging. So I'm just going to throw him a slider. And I did, and we struck him out. And I was like, okay. I had to throw it there, but everybody my teammates all booed me when I came back in the dugout.
No, that was the perfect time to end it.
Yeah. Thanks, Ian Desmond.
Perfect.
All right. So you mentioned before Arizona Fall League, you saw some guys. So you were doing play-by-play in the Arizona Fall League.
Yeah.
I guess let's talk about just real quick some of the Pirates that you saw there. Termar was there for kind of the first half. Sammy Ciani had a big. Really, all the Pirates hitters did really well.
Yeah, they did well.
So, but just kind of talk to us about what you saw, what that experience was like, and is it? I mean, outside Termar everyone kind of knows who Siani is, but he's had his struggles. But like, yeah, what is there to look forward to that you saw out of the Arizona Fall League?
So I would say that the two guys that I really enjoyed, other than those two, that I really liked watching were Derek Diamond and oh my gosh, I just blanked. Hold up 1 second. Curvin Pichardo. I really like Curvin Pichardo. I think he's a really good defensive shortstop, especially, but he can hop around everywhere, and everybody likes utility nowadays. He interests me a lot. Derek Diamond. Oh, and Christian Curtis. Christian Curtis, I think, is somebody that people should have a little bit more. He should have a little bit more prospect status than he does. Relievers generally don't. He's kind of like a starter reliever. But man, in the Fall League, he's got nasty stuff. I'm talking like nasty. He's got this big old breaking ball. I think he calls it a curveball. And then he has like a cutter slider thing that really go well together. And I really liked watching him a lot. I think with Termar, his next thing of growth for me is start swinging the bat. Like we get it. We all know you can walk. You have a great eye. That's fantastic. How about let's start swinging the bat. You got to put those two things together. The guys who are great, like Juan Soto, for example, he's amazing at taking walks, but he's also really, really good at finding the good pitches to hit and hitting them when he gets them. I think Termar can be a little bit too patient at times, really committing to this approach. And I don't hate it. I think it's a good way to learn and see a lot of pitches. And so I think that his next step in his growth that could really shoot him up really quickly is now, all right, now you got it. Now let's flick that switch back on and be the aggressor in every at bat. And still, like, that doesn't mean you swing at every pitch. That means you swing at the pitches that are over the middle of the plate, and you do it every time it's there. It doesn't matter what the count is. Juan Soto is not taking the first pitch. He's not. Juan Soto ends up taking the first pitch a lot because it's not where he's looking for. But if it's there, he pulls the trigger in a big way. Termar Johnson has that same kind of really aggressive swing when he wants to, but he doesn't have that like full take and really aggressive swing on the same pitch. You know what I mean? Like that you can do both on the same pitch. That's what makes a hitter great. And I think that Termar can do that. I think that's just the next step in his growth. Siani changed his bat path. That was the big thing this year for him. So he had too much of a kind of scooping swing, just kind of leveled it out. And man, he's fun to watch. He's just base hit machine, dude. He just slaps balls all around the field. Hit a few homers too. So, I mean, you like that. But he's an incredible defensive outfielder. Talk about somebody that'd be good out in left in PNC Park. Sammy Siani would be great in left in PNC Park. I saw him make some crazy plays, dude. And I think that he's still a little while away as well. Obviously, he's not a very big guy. So not really the intimidating presence that you're hoping for in an outfielder nowadays. But I think he could be really interesting because of the way he's hitting now. It'll be interesting to see how he does in AAA this year for sure.
You think he gets taken in the Rule 5 draft?
No. No, I don't think anybody will. I think that's not a slight on him. I think it's just he's not really what a lot of teams are looking for. But I think he could continue to get better. I think he will be better than his brother, which is saying a lot because Michael Siani is a big leaguer. Yeah. I think Sammy Siani has the potential because Michael Siani is not a great hitter. I think Sammy could be a good contact hitter in the big leagues. He's got his swing is very short, very quick to the ball. And that's really important for hitting in the big leagues, especially when, the stuff that people have, the longer your swing is, unless you're a Manny Machado, the harder it is to hit. So, I like his swing a lot. I'm curious to see what he's going to end up being, but I don't think you have to worry about him going anywhere. But I have to say some other guys in the Fall League that are really impressive. Josue Briseño. I don't know if you guys followed the Fall League at all. He's a 20-year-old catcher, not a catcher anymore, first baseman now with the Tigers. He's been like pretty good, nothing like crazy special. He was the best hitter I've ever seen in the Fall League. He literally could not get out. It was amazing to watch. The dude hit like 450 in the fall league the whole time. He hit 10 homers. He won the AFL Triple Crown, first time that's ever been done. And he led the league in hits, in slugging percentage, in OPS, in home runs, in extra base hits, in batting average. Dude, it was ridiculous what that guy did. I got to see Caglione play, which I'm really glad I got to, because he's going to be in the big leagues next year. I would guess halfway through the season is my just, if I were to guess. He's big dude, great swing. They're talking about letting him pitch, but I don't know how you make that work because he wouldn't be a starter. So I don't know how you would make a reliever position player work. But maybe they can figure it out. I don't know.
Nick Kurtz was another kind of bat in that similar role. He was in the fall league. He had a pretty good year too. Nothing like Briseño or
right.
Yeah, but yeah, he had a decent.
He was good. Bryce Eldridge is really. I didn't know he was so tall. Eldridge. I mean, he's like 6'7", and he's super skinny. So if he fills out, especially, he's going to be like an O'Neal Cruz type player. He's got crazy pop. And then Andrew Painter with the Phillies. He's the one pitcher that I saw that I was like, okay, that guy's going to be in the big leagues like tomorrow. And then Luis May with the Reds. They just found another guy throwing 102 miles an hour. So he'll be in that bullpen soonish too, I'm assuming. 102 mile an hour power sinkers, dude. Yeah. Come on.
You get it. Like, he throws in a T-ball park. Like, he'll give up home runs. It's fine.
Yeah. Totally. I actually pitched really well in Cincinnati in my career. Ironically enough. I was good-ish at times. Major League is really hard. Okay. I always say, people always, give me shit for saying like that I wasn't an amazing big leaguer. It's like, no, I'm not saying that I wasn't a really good baseball player. Like, I made it to the major leagues, but like, those guys are on a different level. There are some amazing baseball players out there that I even got to play against them. Is like super sick. It's like when you're 12 years old and you play in all-stars and you're like, yeah, I'm an all-star. And then you go play like a district game against a kid that's like on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 13. And you're like, oh, so that's what a great baseball player looks like. Oh, okay. And that's what it feels like. It's the same thing.
Yeah. You do start every single Reddit AMA with, I was an average Major League Baseball player. Ask me anything.
Right.
My name's Steven Brault. I'm a minor leaguer. Ask me anything. And that's all.
You know what? Turns out they don't let you change your Reddit name, so I'm always going to be a minor leaguer.
_minor _ leaguer.
Yeah.
I've dabbled down the Steven Brault rabbit hole before.
I had some fun. I've done a few. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get more involved. I feel like Reddit is untapped potential as far as a media market goes, especially for, like an ex-major leaguer to be a part of things there. But I'm not going to be a Reddit mod because I'd rather, I don't know, scrape my own eyes out with a spoon. But I'm still trying to figure out how to make that work.
There's something there. There's something there.
Yeah.
Now, Grant, I do want to go back to tomorrow real quick.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind. You talked about comparing him to Soto a little bit. And do you feel like maybe it's he already has it decided before the pitch that I'm going to go ahead and take this one, and he doesn't have that no, or that yes, no in his brain yet?
Right. I think that's the next step is to get that consistently. It's really hard.
Like, you're swinging till you're not.
Right.
And
exactly.
That's what it feels like, because the head's so still. He does swing violently.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the power is just going to be there. And the swing is beautiful when it connects.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think anybody would say
there's a disconnect.
Yeah, like I don't think anybody would say like Juan Soto doesn't have like a Griffey swing. It's not like a pretty swing. It's a powerful swing. It's aggressive. It's pretty smooth, I guess, but it's not pretty. Tamar's the same way. Like, he has a damaging, powerful swing. It's not really pretty, but it's like, he's all hunched up and he's just like unloading everything. And it just, once you can get both of those things, yeah, like you said, at the same time, the yes, no, or the yes, yes, that's when you really elevate yourself to that next level. I think he can do it though. He's talented, obviously.
How much of it do you think has to do with he's so young, he's been playing in the lower levels? Is that almost a skill that he can hone easier in the higher levels of the minors? Because you mentioned pitchers have one of three things. The higher in the minors you go, the better the command of those pitchers are going to be. He's seeing pitchers in A ball who are just throwing balls all over the place. They have no idea where it's going. So it's almost conditioned in his brain that like he's not even going to get a good pitch to hit. So he might as well just take everything. Does progressing through the minors almost make things easier for a hitter like that to kind of hone that skill, or is it going to be difficult for him to adjust to pitchers with better command?
No, I think it's just going to have to be a mental change, because I think you bring up a really good point. There are guys that get better as they move up because of their approach, and then there are guys that get worse as they move up because they can't handle just the better stuff. Jamar Johnson can handle good stuff. He struck out a lot, and I think part of that is because of what you're saying. He's just going up saying, okay, well, I mean, this is a guy throwing 98. He has no idea where it's going. So like if he happens to dot one on the low and away corner in a 2-strike count, congrats, But when you move up a little bit, you start to face guys that have good command, and then you can start game planning better against pitchers because they're actually executing a plan. That means that you can also try to execute a plan to beat them. In the lower minor leagues, it's just kind of like talent and craziness, especially nowadays, because teams are just signing people for stuff. So everybody you face is throwing 97 and doesn't know where it's going. Rarely are you facing guys that are trying to execute a plan in the low minor leagues, but that will happen as you move up. And he struggled when he first got to AA, and I think that was part of it. And I think that as he gets more used to it, I think it could actually benefit him to move up and face better pitching.
Good point, Jim.
Yeah, just
gold
a
star.
I'll give you a pat on the head.
So we've been talking for about an hour here. We haven't really. You just finished up your first year behind the microphone. You were an analyst for most of the season. You got to do some play-by-play too. So I guess how was the rookie year on the other side of things?
Dude, it's so much fun. Seriously, it's great. It's there's a lot of, just like everything else, there's a learning curve. When I first started, I didn't do any. I had no experience in TV before this, other than like doing interviews. So when I got there, they said, hey, do you have an IFB? And I was like, I don't know what that means. Turns out that's the an ear thing. Like, no, I don't have one. What do you mean? Do I have one? I thought you gave me one. They're like, no. You get like a mold, and then it's your shape of ear. So I had to do all that stuff. We were supposed to do like some run-throughs. I got to Pittsburgh about a week early to do some run-throughs. Turns out my run-through was a walkthrough of like, oh, that's the studio. You'll be sitting in that chair. And hey, thanks for coming. We'll see you in a week. And I was like, okay, sounds great. We'll see how this goes. So there was definitely a learning curve. But man, it's so much fun. And I got really lucky. I will say that Michael McHenry is the amount of work that guy does to get prepped for every show is crazy. Like, we have both of us, he taught me a lot about doing research and how you can find the right stats, the stuff that actually illustrate the point you're trying to make, stuff like that. He helped me a lot with that. He also makes a ton of the graphics and stuff that you see in the pregame and postgame. Like, he's really good at that as well. But he's just, he is very instrumental in helping me figure out how to do stuff. And then Rob King is the GOAT. He's just the best. And so like you learn a lot from these guys, that have been doing it for a while, and just kind of soak it up, dude. It's, when it comes down to it, it's talking about baseball. How hard can it be, really? Don't make yourself sound like an idiot, and don't say things that'll get you in trouble. There's two rules. That's it. Those are the two rules. Otherwise, you're just talking about baseball. We like to be very prepared, And, I appreciate that. That's why I like your guys' stuff as well. You can tell that you're prepared. You know what you're talking about. It's not just random babbling, except when it comes to watching intro videos.
Yeah, I didn't watch the intro.
Well,
yeah. So like, you guys, I mean, it's the same. I basically do the same thing that you guys do. It's just, I guess, on TV instead of in a podcast. And it's a lot of fun. I love talking about the Pirates. I want the Pirates to be really good. And the stuff, I will say, the stuff that I say on TV, I believe. I don't like sugarcoat anything. What I do is look for positive things. I do. That's who I am. I try to go on the positive side of things because I'm a positive person and I have the experience of playing in the major leagues, and it's really freaking hard. It's really hard. So when things go wrong, I like to explain why they're going wrong instead of just bashing on things going wrong. So I really like that part of it, but I will say, yeah, if people think I'm too positive or whatever, like, I guess that can be a genuine dig on me, but I love the game of baseball, and I look for the fun, happy things in baseball. When bad things happen that you have to talk about, obviously, then you address them. But for the most part, look, it was not a good season for the Pirates, but there were a lot of highlights. There were a lot of cool things that happened. And then there was a lot of disappointment, and there was just a huge fall off. That's what happened, dude. The whole season was 15 games in August. That's the whole season. It's too bad that it comes down to that, but that's how the baseball season works. So if you don't do that, literally just don't do that, play exactly the way they were playing the rest of the season, they would have found themselves maybe not in the playoffs, but right there. So I'm curious to see what changes this year to make that not happen again. That's what interests me the most is how are you going to make that not happen? But yeah, I love it, dude. I suggest it to anybody. Get a job talking about baseball. It's great.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Donardo, you haven't got to talk in a minute, but I hope this comes off as a compliment, but
let's go.
I think it was your first game you did play-by-play.
Mm-hmm.
It took me an inning, and I was just hanging out. I forgot that you were doing play-by-play that weekend, or maybe I hadn't heard it, or I just heard it in passing. And I was just doing stuff, hanging out, watching the game. It took me a full inning to realize, I'm like, that's a different voice on there. And this just sounds completely normal. Like, there's nothing off here. Like, it sounds like a professional broadcast.
Thank you.
And I remember jumping on with Donardo that day because we did a post-game show on it. And I'm like, I didn't even notice it was Brault in the booth. I had to go look at Twitter and figure out who's in the booth today, because that's a different voice. And I didn't even realize it.
Thank you. That is a huge compliment to me. I think that the role of play-by-play is to narrate the game. You get to be part of the game. It's the only job that is, other than coaching or playing, that you get to be part of the game. Even a color broadcaster, you're only saying things after they happen. And so as a play-by-play, that's why it's always been what I've wanted to do, because you get to be part of the game. Like, you see highlights, it's my voice. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's taking you through the game together. And so I already have I'm going to spoil this for everybody and myself, but this is things that you think about, and I'm sure you guys understand. I already have my tagline for pregame when we do our segments at the beginning. I always end my intro with, let's watch some baseball together, shall we? Because that's how I feel about doing play-by-play. We're all just going to watch the game together, and I'm just going to kind of guide you through it. That's it. I did talk too much my first game, especially. I tried to reduce that. And then I got to do a game with MLB Network for the Fall Stars game. And I thought I did a lot better of not talking too much. Helps when you have two color analysts instead of just one as well. But dude, it's just so much fun. And I hope to get to do it more and eventually make that my job. But this is not an easy business to get into. So I'm going to, I'll do what I can do and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of props because I enjoyed it. There's a nice mixture of just stories and just baseball talk along with the game itself too. It was nice. And hey,
Thanks,
you know what? Apparently the fans liked it too because fanboy winner right here, Steven Brault.
Let's go. Yeah, dude. Yeah, you guys sent me that and I was like, that's really freaking cool because there was, there's a very big possibility when a new guy comes in that it's just like, that guy sucks, right? Like he's not good. Like he's just not fun to listen to. He doesn't make any good points. Like that's a legit thing. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that. I really did. It means a lot. I know you guys didn't actually do it. So, you guys suck or whatever, but the fans, big fans. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll have to get a trophy for you too.
Yeah. People who like us liked you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's nice.
I'll say this. I feel like the whole crew that you all have, like everyone likes there's not too much negativity around anyone. And you're always going to hear some stuff. You guys are
right. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys are on TV 162 games a year. So like you're going to have people say stuff, but I feel like for the most part, yeah, it's a good group of guys. We got one of them right here in the comments. So.
Hey, Michael, I'm just blowing smoke up your butt. I actually hate you. It's not like, so Michael and I have been talking because we're trying to figure out like, how we're going to get into this next season, so we communicate about this stuff. And it's fun because he's passionate, man. That Michael McHenry cares about the Pirates more than almost anybody. He loves that team so much. And it's that also makes it fun because we watch every game together in the studio and we have a crazy cool setup, bunch of TVs, every single camera angle, all have a high home up all the time so I can see what the defense is doing on a given play. And he usually wants we have one that has a ball trail, like, MLB The Show, like it has a ball trail on every pitch. So we'll watch that. And it helps us like figure out, because post-game show, like we put together the post-game show while the game is going on. And so that part of it, learning how that works, because Michael will just, we'll have a turning point. We always have a turning point in the game, right? So like the first few days we're working there, somebody hits a home run, takes the lead in like the 7th, and Michael just turns down the hallway, just turning point. And like that's how it works. Like you figure this out as you go. So like something big would be like a home run in the first inning, turning point, and then you just change it as the game goes on. It's great.
Paul Skenes takes the mound, turning point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The 96 warm-up pitch. There's the turning point.
Yeah, there's the turning point right there.
Yeah. No, I gotta say too, it was nice when MLB now aired like the pre and post game on MLB TV, because that's how I have to watch it, because again, Florida, 73 degrees.
Florida.
But yeah, so I got to like see you guys finally, because like normally times I don't get to see the pre and post, and this time I did, and so I got to see you and Ford in there, and it was pretty good. I gotta say though, a little bit of like Ernie Johnson with Rob King and you two schmucks doing your thing on the pregame show. So I don't know if that's how you two felt, but I felt a little bit of that vibe there. He's trying to keep the circus in line.
That is a big, I talk about keeping the circus in line. I mean, we're like throwing a baseball and playing basketball in the studio during the games while we watch it. You know what I mean? Like we're literally children that need like a dad. We literally call him Father Rob, because this is what he does. Like he takes care of us. He makes sure we don't get in too much trouble and that we're ready to go for the post game. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's a lot of fun. But I will say, I agree with you. I think it's cool MLB puts it on. And then I also think it's cool the guys I work with work really hard, because I'm just be honest, I've watched other pregame, post games that don't feel the same. And for us, we take pride in whatever stance we're going to take, we can back it up. You know what I mean? Like that's all when it comes down to it. I could have a terrible opinion. You could think my opinion is terrible, and that's fine, but I got these stats that back it up, like, so whether you disagree with me, that doesn't matter. I can still make a valid argument for what I'm arguing for. And that Michael taught me. You always need to be able to back it up. And so yeah, it's fun, dude. It's fun.
Well, you're safe because your opinions are good. Forts are all bad.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with you there.
Yeah.
Except when we agree, then he got lucky.
Yep.
Sounds
Right.
Well,
All right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long you guys normally go.
We're
3 hours.
Yeah.
3 hours, 12 hours.
It's a Joe Rogan show.
We just go till the morning.
It's actually a streamathon. We invited you on. Jim didn't give you that memo. We're going
Okay, so
24
let me,
hours.
yeah,
tonight.
let me
24 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in
bathroom break,
college,
we'll be here.
yeah, right. When I was in college, my buddies and I did a 24-hour gaming marathon every year, once a year. And we did it we raised money. We would have our families and stuff donate. We would all donate all the money to, what did we do it for? I want to say it was a Veterans Association or something. And we didn't stream it or anything, but we would play video games. We'd set up, like 5 TVs in our basement, and we'd all play video games for 24 hours straight. And I'll tell you what, 5 college guys eating Little Caesars for 24 hours in a small room is not a great combination.
Yeah, I did something similar in high school where when Call of Duty would come out, we do the same thing, except we donate nothing to anybody and just hang out in my friend's basement.
It's the best. Good times.
With a bunch of giant square TVs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Playing 4-player split screen on a 16-inch.
Yep. Awful.
Has 17 total
and
pixels
then you'd
on
run
the screen.
like all the lanyard or the what do they call them? I don't even remember anymore. The LAN cables.
Oh, LAN cables. Yeah.
Yeah.
LAN
You wouldn't
parties.
be able to plug them into everything, so we'd have to do the split screen.
Yeah, dude. We used to do 4-on-4 Halo on 2 TVs. And we would, oh man, dude, that's so much fun. Zombies, Halo 3.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, we were COD guys, but
losers.
I would proudly go 5 and 15 every round. Yes.
That's about right.
Get mad and walk upstairs and go lay on the couch and then come back down and play again.
Yeah, exactly. You got to take a little break, mental break, and then come back.
Yeah.
Fun times. And now we're
drinking
all
beer for every time he died.
Oh yeah, we were pounding some Keystone Lights.
Keystones. That was it. I remember when I was in college, you can get a 12-pack of Keystone for like $6.99.
Mind you, Jim, when you were back in college, this is also Tyler's preferred drink today.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Busch Latte guy.
Not because he's a poor college kid. It's
Busch.
Yeah.
Hey, no
you know what? Another thing I learned off of Steven's AMAs, he's an IPA guy.
Yeah, well,
fancy
actually,
guy out in San Diego.
I will be honest with you. I have really pulled back the reins on that since I did that IPA because
Pittsburgh's getting India.
I think it has, dude. When I have a beer, usually, I just want it to be like refreshing and very cold. Like that's what it comes down to with beer for me now.
And
I grew up in San Diego. You had to do that IPA, sick, bro.
But also like 60 calories, 240.
I don't care about calories. Dude. I'm a freaking rail. Look at me.
I don't either, but
no meat on my bones.
Yeah, but when all your salads are covered with French fries, sometimes you need a light beer to go with it.
That I understand.
Salads, sandwiches, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Cold cheese on pizza. We do stuff weird.
No, I don't. That's
no.
Never tried that before.
I would call that problematic.
It's like Betos.
No.
Whatever.
Did you ever have Altoona style pizza when you were on the curve?
I didn't know there was such a thing as Altoona style pizza.
Google.
What does that mean?
Well, it's not pizza, so good.
Google. Can someone just bring up a picture real quick?
It's like it's literally like craft singles.
We really are making this a Joe Rogan show. Where it's like
they just put like craft singles on top of the pizza.
It's trash.
It's
literally it's Altoona style pizza. Yeah,
I think yep. There we go.
I mean, guys, those are just pieces of bread. It's like an open face sandwich mixed with a pizza.
Can we stop this?
It's like the worst version of both of those things put together.
Right.
I love Toontown, but good God, that pizza looks terrible.
Stick to the burgers.
Yeah, there you go.
On that note,
well, Yeah. Anything else you guys have? By the way, the gears are going on this 24 stream NS9 coming up in the future. We're doing it somehow.
Hey, just let me know. I got a kid coming. Very excited.
Bring them on.
Number
Never
one,
too early.
Let's go. But I'll be around. So, hit me up, guys. I would love to do another show. I think that if we're going to do another show, we have to go into like specific position stuff. I like doing that kind of stuff.
Will do.
Deal. That works.
Yeah. All right, boys. Thank you so much for having me.
Appreciate everyone for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Scouts.
See you guys. Thanks, Steven. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.